How's it going, people? I hope everyone's all right. Let's just go into the chat. We need a comms check, please, if we're getting out there in the internet land, whilst we wait for all of that to update itself. Rachel, thank you, darling. Awesome. We got people in the house. Ash, thank you. Thank you, guys, for the confirmation. It's all good. If you people are watching this live stream on the replay, you might want to go 10 minutes and then watch, because believe it or not, it does take quite a while for all of these notifications to go out. Excuse me. Literally all around the world. It never ceases to amaze me when I live remote in a little cabin on a mountain in the middle of Wales, that it still works. Is awesome. So it does take a while to send notifications out. Let me know if you did receive the notification. By standard YouTube default, the notifications get sent half an hour prior to the live stream. So I'd appreciate the feedback if you got the notifications all right. That would really be cool. Also, check if you are still subscribed to the channel. Lots of people tell me over the last 3 years, I think, that they've become unsubscribed and they didn't do it. And the notification bell, make sure that check that if that's okay. It'd be good to hear your feedback. So that's good. It's looking pretty cool, guys. Got it? Yeah. Yes, Funky. Notifications arrived. Excellent. 30-minute notification is standard, and I'm not sure if you get one. No, NOS for R2, Nosferatu. Very good. Just got a notification now. So this is what I'm saying, people. It does take a while for this to get stabilized. So that's all good in the hood. Another little tip as well, if you're watching this on the YouTube app on your phone or on the TV or something like that, every now and again, it's good to clear the cache and reset it and turn everything off and on again, and then check subscribed notifications. And that's pretty much all we can do. So we're just going to get into the chat whilst all this is warming up. We've got 205 people here right now. Thanks for tuning in, and I appreciate you guys spending your time here, because I know time is very precious. It's very important. Rachel, my partner, yep, hit the thumbs up. That really helps. If everyone hit the thumbs up right now, boom, this video will get bumped up the list and more people will join in the chat, which is also very cool. The more people we got in the chat, the better. I think the record that I've had is nearly 4,000 people in the live chat at one time. Crazy. Yes, sir. So that's good. Awesome. So, excuse me, let's wind it up to the top. Right. Engineer to succeed. Matt, you're the first person on the list. Hi, John Farley. Don't tread on me. Awesome. Hilltop Homestead. Good to see you guys. Phoebe Avro, Crimer Biff, Tracy B, Martin Waz, Julia, Stig. You guys are awesome. Peter Westerway. Nice. So yeah, like I say, if you're watching this on the replay, guys, just skip to 10 minutes because we do have to give it 10 minutes, unfortunately, for everyone to come in. So it's good to see people in the house. Very, very cool indeed. Barbara Edwards, Claire, Robert Peters, Grumpy Grandad. Hi, sir. And of course, the wonderful Rachel Gregory, the artist. If you don't know, Rachel's my partner, and there's a link to her YouTube channel in the description box of this video. So if you're into your art stuff, very, very good. She's got a BA in fine art from Oxford, don't you know? So yes. So I know some of you guys collect art, so by all means follow Rachel. Her link's underneath the video. Alex, Tamsi, Cheshire Wanderer. Hello, mate. Good to see you. Oh, Mike, I've got some stickers. Yeah, they're all good. I'll be sending some over to you, mate. Liz, Fear the Honey Badger. You guys' names, I love your names. Warhawk, a member, awesome. Speaking of membership, I've had a really good think about this for a long time, and I think I'm going to give it a try on Patreon because everyone seems to be using Patreon these days. And I've been told by lots of you guys to do a Patreon page. So I will be looking into that over next week. We got Jane, Welsh Rune, Plod. No Plod. We're not political. We're not talking about the migrant stuff. That's what got me in deep doo-doo. We already know about all that. There's no point keep banging on about it. We need to start getting ready. That's one of the ideas of this video, this live stream. Who have we got? Jamie C, Nigel the handyman, Maxine, Stephen. Awesome. We got 259 now. Cool. The notifications are being sent out. That's very, very cool. Cozy Van Toot, Oak Faye Warrior, Alicia Lane, Pilgrim. Hello, Jay. Good to see you, brother, from across the pond. Awesome. I love you, brother. Hope everything's okay over there. Mr. Steve, play out Pompey, of course. I just come back from Pompey myself. I spent a while down there. Awoken Word, Paul Miller. This is cool. It's good to see some good people in the chat. Miko Wolf from New York City. Fair shout. Ronnie Rubble, Old Bag, Stephen Parks. Brilliant. So I'm going to bring it right down to current. Who we got in here? Keith White, watching from Southwest France. Bonjour, monsieur. Magnifique. Brilliant. Mary Stevenson Powis, don't you know? This is really cool. Thank you for coming along, my friends. Stephen Parks, very funny. Dave is in Canada. In actual fact, guys, whereabouts are you from? Because we got another 2 minutes and then we're getting on with it. So Ninja Man, SAS. Who wasn't in the SAS? But hi, Ninja Man. Hi, Mark. Brilliant. Good to see you, man. I've been offline for most of this month, really, pretty much. I've been prioritizing myself and my partner. So we've been having a little break, spent some time with my dad down south, and it's been all good. So we've got people from Hemel Hempstead. Sorry about that. Northampton, Missouri, the Netherlands. Wow. Essex, the Malverns. Someone called Julius from the Malverns. Alex is in the Isle of Wight, sorry. I'm only joking. Carol's in Devon. Paul is from Norfolk, Buckinghamshire. Wow. We got people from all over. Rachel's on the planet Zarg. I hope it's getting out all right out there. Oh, would you believe it? I've just got a message from WhatsApp. My friend Danny Rampling, the DJ, we're trying to get an overnighter done, believe it or not. So stay tuned for that, people. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. Jane in Weymouth. Cheshire Wanderer, obviously in Cheshire. Yeah, I don't know. Why is it that people in Cheshire have a Liverpool accent? I can't understand that. Hello, Mike. Norwich, New York, North Wales. That's Danny again. John is in Leeds. Good to see John Farley in the house. A supporter of the channel. Incidentally, thank you for your donations, guys, during my absence. I really appreciate that. South Wales, West Yorkshire, Devon, West Midlands. Blimey, I can't pronounce that. It's FL. That's Florida, USA. That's Mark. Love Danny Rampling. Yeah, he's a dude. He's become quite a good friend, actually, so it's really nice. Greetings from Switzerland. That's Maya. West Midlands. Slave to No Man. Hello, mate. How's it diddling? He didn't want to become a moderator anymore, so I've modded him. So I'm not so sunny Brecon. It's crap out there, John. It's bull crap at the moment. It's like our summer's just vanished, hasn't it? So Paul in Dorset. Okay, that's enough of the chit chat. I'm coming out of the chat now, so I can't see what you guys are doing. But what I thought we'd do is I've been away, and recently I've just taken upon myself to spend 30 hours by myself doing some serious tactical training. The thumbnail is of me whilst I was out doing the do. So any of you guys who have been in the mob, especially infantry, will sort of remember, you know, the fieldcraft, some of the drills and stuff we used to do out in the field. And I've literally got all of my kit together, went out there and just done it all by myself. And let me tell you this, guys, it's very important that we make time to do stuff like this. Okay, you don't have to go full tactical like I did. I've done the whole thing, camo, you know, low noise, low light, etc. And it's very, very good to revisit those skills. Okay, even moving through a woodland quietly, even making sure that you're putting a perimeter safety cordon around your camp to give you an alert should someone or something enter your inner zone, your security ring. Some of you guys who've been in security know what I'm talking about, but security is all about rings. Okay, so it's very, very important, and I had a great time, and it was interesting. I mean, incidentally, I videoed it, and that's going to be up over the next 3 or 4 days when I'll get around to editing it all. It's a lot, and it was all done proper tactical. Okay, there was no fires, nothing on at night time, etc., and camouflage concealment. And basically, I've got it's called an inch setup. An inch, if you don't know, is I'm never coming home. So we're theorizing about a societal collapse here in the UK, which is on the cards within the next 10 years. And I'm going to show you a report on that in a sec. There's a few cues that I've got skewed ready to show you guys about this. And it's no BS, all right? It's 100% genuine. And we do need to start getting ready. It's pointless, I feel, scrolling and spending so much of our valuable time looking at what's going on everywhere. I think we've got a rough idea and we feel it that society is slowly falling apart. Okay, the gap between rich and poor has never been greater, and it's having effects all over the UK and all over the Western world if you want to outreach it that far. It's absolutely true, and I feel it's high time that we spent our time training. Okay, now whatever training you want to do, whatever training you feel important, make it a priority. Don't keep putting it off. And there's so many ways that we can train, you know. Map reading. If you've never done map reading before, just watch some videos, get yourself an OS map and a compass, get outside and try it. Okay. Foraging. I've done some foraging on the video, and that's going to be showing some of that as well. Incidentally, I've still got that video from a guy who was in the Marine Commandos. He sent me some really good foraging books. His name is James. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be dropping next week, probably. So I believe training is important. I mean, even if you did map reading 20 years ago, I bet you any money you've forgotten a few things. How to orientate your map to ground, how to walk on a bearing, okay, how to navigate trig points, etc. There's so much that we should, I feel, start getting into our heads now, because at some point when the big day comes, we want to at least try and hit the ground running rather than staring at headlights pretending to be a rabbit. It's not good. It's certainly not good. So learning things in the field, learning to become self-reliant and self-sufficient, very important. Hunting, if you like shooting or trapping, and you haven't done it for a while, give it a go. Get out there and try it. Try to do a camp. Try to make it concealable. If it's in a public woodland, it's a good test. You can do that and you can hide away. And if you remain undiscovered, that's good. That means you're getting somewhere. That's what we need to do. Okay. Anything which leads people who are following us to our location is a big no-no. So stay tuned for the overnight video. I'm going to try and get it up for probably Monday night. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to release it early for members. I know lots of you guys who are members of this channel, and anyone who's a member will get that notification immediately as it goes up. And I'll probably schedule it for about 8 p.m, something like that. So you guys can be early bird on that one. That'd be cool, actually. So what we're going to do is we're going to just present some of the things which I just come across. So we're going to go into this one. I'm just going to make sure that I can see myself. Yes, that's pretty cool. Right, okay. This was not that long ago. Wealth inequity risks triggering societal collapse within decade. This report finds. This is from King's College in London. Okay. Now I know there's all sorts of rights or wrongs about that, but nonetheless, this report was made, and you can download this PDF. It's an interesting read, actually. I'm not going to go through it all because it's quite in depth, but there's a few points of note to mention. So saying in the next decade, okay, so within the next 10 years, excuse me, it comes from an expert roundtable of senior figures from politics, government, academia, business, and civil society, which concluded the country is currently on the trajectory of decline. Now, I don't need you to tell you that the country is in decline. I'm pretty sure everyone watching now has got their own eyes, ears, brain, etc. Okay, we all feel it. It's happening. You have to be blind and blatantly ignorant not to have some idea that things aren't quite right. So what do? We do our best and we train, but more about that in a bit. So inequity of wealth, undermining social cohesion, and a risk of further deterioration without intervention. So basically, it's happened, it started, and it's a slow burn, as I've phrased it in the past. The report by the Fairness Foundation and the Policy Institute and Department of War Studies at King's College in London also looked at public attitudes, finding 2/3, 63% of Britons now think the very rich have too much influence on politics in the UK, far higher than the share who say the same about businesses. That's around 40%. Religious organisations, 40%, or international organisations like the EU and the UN, around 38%. Teetering on the brink, the participants identified a negative feedback loop whereby the government's failure to tax wealth effectively means it lacks sufficient revenue to uphold the social contract by which strong public services. Oh, I couldn't agree more. An effective social safety net and healthy economy provide people with decent living standards. Trust in politics then decline further. Politicians avoid honest discussions of the underlying problems and what to do about them. And the system's legitimacy is increasingly questioned as the social contract collapses. Now, you couldn't say it any better than that. The writing is on the wall. Now, look at this. It's quite interesting. The roundtable identified multiple possible triggers for societal disintegration linked to or exacerbated by wealth inequality. These range from economic crisis, such as runaway inflation and currency collapse, to climate events, here we go, such as the catastrophic failure of the Thames Barrier or crop failures elsewhere in the world. Like I said in previous videos, people, all of the things that we have in the UK, food-wise, most of it is imported. Very, very bad. Very, very bad indeed. It's one of the main reasons why we should all be doing our bit to grow our own food. Because if something happens to the supply chain, where are you going to get your food from if you haven't got any stocked already? Now, this is quite interesting about stockpiling food. And I don't like to use this word stockpiling. I'm using what the narrative is suggesting it's called. More about that in a bit, so stay tuned. It's very interesting. The participants also highlighted several theoretical frameworks identifying rising wealth inequity as the driver of societal disintegration and collapse. For example, the scientist Peter Turchin, I think that's right, collates historical evidence to argue that growing poverty combined with wealth inequality, and elite overproduction. Elite overproduction, there's a phrase. Where too many people compete for too few top jobs or positions in society tends to result in societal collapse in the absence of determined action to avert it. Now, this would just go on and on and on. I'm not going to go through it all, but nonetheless, it's quite interesting. Now, if you want to read more about this article, go over to King's College in London and the News Centre. And this was put at the end of January, so only a few months ago. We just removed that from the screen. So only today did anyone know about this. Let me just check onto this. Look at this. A huge fire declared a major incident with road closures nearby. This is in Northamptonshire, and I remember seeing someone in the chat is in Northamptonshire. Fire and Rescue Services said it's receiving cross-border support. You know it's bad when you see cross-border support, okay? So basically what that means is the local fire teams that attended the incident, there's not enough. They had to get extra help from other counties. That's how bad this is. And it will remain on the scene for the rest of this weekend. That's how bad it is. There's a video there. So emergency crews were called at the scene at Sanders Lodge Industrial Estate in a place called Rushden. That is around 6:30 this morning. So this has been going on all day, and it's going to be going on all over the weekend. Okay, a number of road closures were put in place, and local residents were advised to avoid the area and keep their windows and doors closed due to black smoke billowing in the air. But the major incident has now been stood, although residents are still being advised to keep in their homes or keep their homes secure. If you just look at that, that is insane. So with the wind blowing and all of that sort of stuff, if you're out and about, inhaling this is extremely toxic. Lots of plastics and chemicals literally up in smoke. And it's huge. You can check it out online right now if you want to. It's absolutely huge, this fire. So this building was evacuated just before everyone was safely accounted for. So you can just tell by the extent of this. It's absolutely insane. There's a tiny person in there. It gives you an idea of how big this toxic cloud. A large quantity of plastic and gas. Wow. So it just goes to show these things do happen, believe it or not. And the weird thing was when I just hopped onto the news, and I don't usually do this, but I just wanted to see what has been going on. We're going to go through some of these. Look at this. A man slashed by a masked gang outside his home as feud escalates. There's a few incidents, not just on this site, but other sites of stabbings, okay? And there's that big warehouse fire right there. It does appear that, look at this, teenagers admit machete murder of a boy 14 years old on a bus. It's absolutely insane what's going on. And we can further check with that, the latest headlines on here. Now look at this. Armed police swarm hospital after a man enters with a crossbow. Now, some of you people out there, including myself, own a crossbow, and they're 100% legal to own right now. But I have a feeling the more times that we see articles like this with the word crossbow on there, we could be entering a phase which we've seen in America where they're trying to stop gun ownership every time there's a school shooting, etc. We are seeing this in the UK. More and more articles are being published on the mainstream about incidences with crossbow. Now, I have a feeling that at some point there's going to be something from government which are going to be set up, and they're going to be trying to make it probably illegal to own a crossbow. Okay, personally, I just think it's just a matter of time now. It really is. So we're going to pop into the chat right now. If any of you guys have been noticing news reports about the ownership of crossbows. Now, like I said, at the moment, they are completely legal to own. Okay. I'm pretty sure the law is you're not allowed to hunt with a crossbow, but for target practice, archery, that sort of thing, is absolutely fine. And in fact, I've got a crossbow just over there, and I've done some target practice with it, and I haven't shot any animals with it. But all the time we're seeing these articles come out about something happening with crossbows. Personally, I think it's just a matter of time that it could be a big problem. Cheshire Wanderer. Yeah, I really think it's worth keeping an eye on the news, because if it comes out that they make it a law, that they're going to be banned, then I would do something about that. I would definitely not have them on your property, because what happened to me when the police come round, they took some knives. Four of them were confiscated for good. All of the rest of them I've got is fine. My air rifle is fine. My crossbow is fine. But they know that I've got one here now, and when they're banned, probably, I'm pretty sure I'll be expecting a visit from them people again. So yes, if you do have a crossbow, keep an eye on the news. That would be my advice. Mike, yeah, I know, it's crazy. Even Stig was saying crossbows are illegal in Sweden. Crazy. I do remember in Sweden in 2012, that was the first country to roll out RFID chips in the hand. Yeah, lot of youngsters fell for it. Over 1,000, I think. They did it in Norway as well. Blimey. So you can start to see a picture from here. So they've already been banned in 2 countries in Europe, Scandinavia. They seem to be appearing on the news now and again. So it's almost like when things do go wrong, we're given little snippets in the mainstream. It's almost like giving people who are aware, like us, a bit of a nudge to expect something. But most of the sheep people would just not know or bother or anything. So it's important that we do have one eye and ear on what's going on. Yeah. Where can you buy a crossbow in the UK? Get them online, but I think you do have to prove your age. So you probably have to photograph your driving license or birth certificate or passport, something like that, or just go into a hunting shop, a shooting shop, a sporting shop, etc. But you can freely buy them here in UK right now. So moving on then, I'm going to be sharing this. Yes, this is the same article about the crossbow. Yeah, so that's a bit of a heads up, people. Right, with this warning as well. I'm going to check this out. Okay, this was a few weeks ago. Experts issue a warning over more frequent UK blackouts after the major power cut in Spain and Portugal. I've done a live stream talking about the power cut out there, and it was pretty insane. I actually got a few friends out in Spain and Portugal during the time, and they said there was absolute pandemonium. Luckily, my friends were mobile in vehicles, off grid, so they weren't really affected. But when they went to go and stock up on food and things like that, what was happening was they weren't able to buy food because all of their transaction apparatus was down. Okay, so it comes back into the prepper mindset. Cash is king. Cash is 100% king, because if your shop solely relies on electricity and there's a power out, guess what? You ain't doing no business, and no customers are going to be buying goods. It's as simple as that. Look at this. Just hours before the lights went out in the Iberian Peninsula, in a move that caused widespread disruption, parts of Britain also suffered a mysterious blackout. Now, did anyone have this? This was a few weeks ago. Did you get a blackout here in the UK? Around about the same time it all went down in Europe, there was parts of France, Spain, and Portugal. There was hundreds of thousands of people without power for quite a while. Then we had the cyber attack on Marks and Spencer's. All of their chip and pin contactless payment systems went down. And I spoke to a guy on the till in one, and he said, "Oh, it's a nightmare." He said people were leaving trolleys because they didn't have any cash, and they had to put all of the stuff back on the shelves. So it's a heads up, people. Always carry cash, and always make sure that you're going to be okay when the lights go out. Simple as that. To be fair, this is bog standard basic preparedness. To me, it's just common sense. You know, if you've had a power cut once in your life and it was a complete nightmare, that should be enough to at least get you some torches, candles, matches, that sort of thing. But, you know, these are warnings and these are lessons. And if you don't heed by these or learn by them, at some point, it's the law of averages. You will get caught out, and it could be resulting in serious consequences. So it says here, this is crazy. Look at this. Weather is becoming more extreme as the climate changes. If you believe that, listen, up to you. So we are getting more power cuts. We have storms that are more severe. So you have more wind damage. We have trees coming down on lines. I can absolutely concur with that. I had zero power for 3 whole days up in the mountains. And when I was driving around the mountains of mid Wales, it's absolutely appalling to see so many trees come down. And some people were without power for over a week. So in modern UK, to be without electricity for a whole week, that's quite serious, because we are all being coerced into becoming reliant on electricity. 100%. All these impacts of climate change happening, which are going to make weather damage and system and power cuts more likely and more common. Well, of course, they're going to blame that, aren't they? While minor outages affect localized areas regularly, there have been previous incidences which affect large parts of the country. Now, I want you to see this. Their impacts may not have matched the scale of the chaotic outage across Spain and Portugal earlier this month, but it is not impossible that the UK could experience similar. Mr. Cran McGreehin said, when major faults have occurred, they have been unavoidable accidents. For example, lightning strikes. The last major blackout in the UK was 2019 because of a lightning strike, and it caused certain power stations to trip. Who remembers that power cut in 2019? However, he stressed, however, that while these things happen here are very, very rare, adding that to the UK's power grid is remarkably resilient. Well, I'll beg to differ on that, but that's another story. Critics, including Reform leader Nigel Farage and Tory leader Kemi, whoever that is, have alleged that the government net zero drive makes the country more vulnerable. I completely agree with that. net zero is an absolute nightmare. So yeah, that's quite an interesting article. That's from LBC, wherever they are. It's good because it gives people a bit of a heads up of the stuff that's actually going down, to be fair. So this is quite interesting. Well, I'll type this in. Okay. Go into your search engine. On this example, I'm using Google because that's what most people use. I prefer to use Brave, but for you guys, we're on Google Chrome doing this. UK food shortage. Listen to this. While a large majority of households in the UK continue to be food secure, there has been a notable decrease in food secure households. There has been a notable rise in inflation both overall and for the category of food and non-alcoholic beverages since the beginning of 2021. Wow, the timing's a bit strange, isn't it, since 2021? Look at this. Why is the UK not self-sufficient in food? This is an artificial idiot overview. I call it artificial idiot because it is. The UK isn't self-sufficient in food production primarily due to a combination of factors, including, look at this, climate limitations, reliance on imported animal feed, dietary preferences, and the cost effectiveness of importing certain goods. Well, there's a lot more to it than just that, actually. I'm sure you'll agree. While the UK can produce a substantial amount of food, it needs to import a significant portion, especially fruits, veg, seafood, to meet consumer demand for a variety of all year round options. It just bangs on about climate because AI, open AI, is all 100% agenda driven. Okay. So the agenda 2030, 2050, AI is absolutely firmly embedded with that agenda. Okay, i.e., not entirely true. Something to note there. Let's look at this. Should we stockpile food? There we go. Going to highlight it on the screen right there. Should we stockpile food? AI, artificial idiot, says yes. Having a food stockpile is a good idea for emergency preparedness. AI is jumping on this now already, and artificial idiot is in its infancy. Experts recommend storing at least a 3-day supply of food and water, and ideally a week's worth, to help you function independently during disruptions like supply chain issues or natural disasters. And it's quite interesting if you have to look at this. Basically, this is what us preppers do, bread and butter. But just to back up that this is becoming mainstream known now, it's quite, we're noticing a shift, people. Times are changing. If they weren't changing, you wouldn't have artificial idiots spewing out this. Emergency preparedness. In the event of a natural disaster or other disruption, that doesn't make sense. A stockpile can provide you with food and water to sustain yourself for a period of time until regular services are restored. Protection against price surges and shortages. Stockpiling can help protect you from potential price increases or shortages that might occur during an emergency. Well, I'm telling you this much. If you buy something today, it's always going to be cheaper than next year. Guaranteed 100%. If you think the prices are going to come down or stay the same, I really feel sorry for you because you are going to find out the hard way. It's 100% provable. By having a reserve of food, you can reduce your reliance on external systems that might be disrupted during a crisis. However, it's important to note that excessive stockpiling can cause problems. Okay, over stockpiling can lead to food waste, increase the cost of living. How How is overstockpiling going to increase the cost of living and potentially disrupt the food supply chain by creating artificial shortages? Wow. So excessive stockpiling, what would you say is excessive? 1 year, is that too much? I think it's personally it's a rational thing in the current climate since 2020. If you haven't got 1 year's supply of food for you and your family, you're going to be spending more money if you've only got a week's worth, etc. It's just financial and a good feeling to have a good stock of food at your property. Simple as that. It's common sense. In fact, because I live remote in a rural area, people have been living like this for hundreds of years. Every single cottage and house remote will have an extensive larder, guaranteed. Because out in the sticks, we do get big snow, we do get power cuts, we do get floods, we do get big droughts. And because we're miles away from the nearest shops, etc., it absolutely makes sense to have food in your home. Completely rational. Crazy. It's important to rotate stock. That's true. That's very, very true, actually. Ensure that you rotate your stock supply regularly, as some items have shorter shelf lives. Well, let me tell you this, boys and girls. If you was to buy tinned meat, tin beans, say 10 years ago, when you buy it, you would probably get like 4 or 5 years of expiry date. Now you buy it, you've probably got 2 years max. Things are changing. So important to rotate the stock, 100%. So to summarize, ultimately, having a reasonable amount of non-perishable food on hand is a sensible measure for emergency preparedness. But it's important to avoid excessive stockpiling that could lead to food waste or other unintended consequences. So basically, they're saying get some, but don't get too much. Look at this. Could the UK survive without imports? Look at this. The short answer is no. I've been saying this since 2012. Okay. If all food imports ceased to the UK, we would have a societal collapse in less than 1 week. Guaranteed. 100% guaranteed. And you could name your scenario with food imports ceasing. There could be a war. Look what happened in Ukraine. The price of fertilizer went up over 1,000%. Insane. It happened. And I'm with farmers out here. I've been on a farmers protest in Cardiff. Me and my partner went, and we've been speaking to the farmers there, and they are really struggling. And did you know that all UK farm subsidies will cease in 2027? So less than 2 years, the government will no longer be giving farmers money to help grow food. So if you think food is expensive now, well, just you wait to 2027 when them farm subsidies stop. Lots of farms will go out of business within a week. We are going to rely on more food imports. It only takes something to slow that down, or the demand to be greater than supply. You've got a problem. You've got a big problem, which why, to me, it makes perfect sense to, I don't like to use the word stockpile, but to have something, okay? Have something. So look at this. The short answer is no. The UK could not survive without food imports. Well, the UK produces approximately 60% of the food it consumes. I think it's less than that, actually. I'd say it's 40%. With a higher self-sufficiency rate of 73% for indigenous food products. The UK relies on global supply chains to supplement its food supply, particularly for specialised and seasonal items. Now, I remember reading a report some time ago that the head or the king or the queen, whoever, it's the king now with his funny fingers, right? If the king cannot sustain its own subjects for food, the king should be held for treason. Simple as that. And the short answer is the UK cannot supply its own subjects with food. It has to rely on imports. Now, like I said, Name your scenario of why those imports will cease. Some people will just use the mainstream. Oh, it's because of Brexit, blah, 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 whatever it is. You got Trump doing the tariff thing. That can change. Who remembers the Green, that big boat in the Suez Canal? Yes. Supply chains were absolutely went Pete Tong, big time. So many things. And of course, they're going to blame climate change, and it's nothing to do with whatever they're spraying in the air or nothing like that. Nothing at all. But food shortages are a problem. Flash floods decimates crops, droughts. How much rain have we had in the UK this year? Not much, have we? How's your garden looking? Have you got to water it more than you normally would this time of year? It's nice to have sun, but it's important to have rain. How much water have you got stored? Okay. It's all well and good having water filters, but if you haven't got water, you're not going to be filtering anything, are you? So it doesn't matter if you can store water in buckets, in demijohns, in water butts, IBC tanks, whatever it is that you've got. It doesn't matter if it's dirty because you can always clean it and purify it later. The important thing is to have water. Okay. A good little tip is when you go to Aldi or Lidl, like I do, you can get them 5-litre water bottles. They're quite sturdy. Tesco's do an even stronger one, only slightly more expensive by about 20p, but they're quite robust containers and they've got a heavy duty handle. £1.50 for 5 litres of water. You can drink it, fill it up with your tap water or whatever it is, and you can store them, put them somewhere safe. So when you do have droughts, you're not going to be standing in line on your street when a local government water bowser arrives, issuing water to people, which you can bet your bottom dollar is going to be heavily chlorinated and God knows fluoride and whatever rubbish is in there. So just a bit of a heads up there, people. Just going to pop into the chat, see what's going down. Yeah, John, it's raining now, funny enough. In fact, I checked the forecast and we've got rain right up until tomorrow morning. So it's going to be good for the crops. I know some of you guys grow your own food, and it's a bit of a godsend to see it rain, to be fair. Independent Puppy. Interesting name. Those 5-litre bottle water are the ones I have. Yeah, they're really good. I recommend getting those, people, because they're easier to store rather than the 1.5-litre bottles. It works out cheaper. And, you know, if you was to just imagine you had no water in your house, okay? So you can't have a bath, you can't have a shower, you can't fill up the kettle, you can't steam vegetables, you can't even flush the toilet, you can't even wash your hands, you can't do some pasta or rice or whatever it is. What are you going to do? Where are you going to get the water from? You might have to wait a couple of days before a lorry turns up in your street if you're lucky, and then you're going to have to make sure you've got containers to go and collect the water. How many councils do you think are going to be bending over backwards, going to the UK populations, which is well over 80 million people? How long can they supply, 5 litres per person per day during a serious drought? They're not going to do it, are they? So, like always, we have to use this and do it ourselves. Now, I know times are tight. Everyone's struggling, okay? But just to find £1.50 a week when you do your shop, if you started now, by July, you're going to have loads. And it's all it takes. It doesn't cost a lot of money. And it's something we need to be mindful of, 100%. Yeah, Ninja Man. Yeah. Keep an eye on it, mate, because if it does get low, it might just be worthwhile just getting the hose and just filling it up. Because, if we don't have rain for a couple of weeks, all of a sudden you've lost 80 litres of water. So hopefully the rain, mate, tonight will fill it up. Let us know tomorrow, mate, how she looks, all right, when you pop out in the garden. John Farley, lifesaver jerry can. Yeah, there you go, mate. I was using mine not that long ago. When I had the power cut, I was using my lifesaver jerry can all the time. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, there's a link below to the sponsor of his channel, Lifesaver. They make water filters that can filter any water apart from seawater here in the UK. They're really good, actually. I totally endorse them. They're brilliant. Owen Gray, thank you for the first donation of this evening. Appreciate that. We are not allowed to. I don't know what that means. It's probably in response to something. Hmm. 40 quid for an 8.0 jerry can. Bloody hell. I think I paid £10 for my new back in the day. But like everything, mate, you know, people new to the scene, they're just going to spend more money. Luckily for us, we woke up a while ago and got it when it's reasonably affordable. So it is what it is. Nothing to do about that. Yeah, basically May, we've only had probably 1 day of rain in like 20 odd days, which is nuts. It's absolutely nuts. It's been hot as well. So yeah, there's I won't know till I go out and look at the reservoirs in Wales. I don't know if you know this, but there's a place called Elan Valley, and that supplies all of Birmingham. Birmingham is the second largest city in the entire United Kingdom. So when those reservoirs are low, everyone in Birmingham is at risk. So it has made an impact, you know. It really has. Sir Wingnut. So when are you going out to the woods? I've just come back. I've just got wed at the video, mate. That'll be up Monday probably. So lots of survival tips in there. Thanks, Pamela. Awesome. Thanks, Rachel. Someone says, is there a prepper meeting this year? Yes, there certainly is. There is. I've been on and offline due to what happened in October last year. But yes, the prepper meet is going to be the 11th of July this year, and it's in Brecon in mid Wales. There is a link below this live stream right now, taking you straight to how to book. And yes, tickets are selling fast. It's limited to around 200 people, and they're nearly all gone. So if we really want to go to the prepper meet with other preppers, and we're going to be sharing hints, tips, and ideas. Lots of people are giving away free kit. Lots of people are selling kit. People swap kit. Okay, so if you're new to prepping, okay, you're going to be saving a fortune if you get yourself to the prepper meet. It's pretty much like a car boot sale. Everyone brings stuff to give away, etc. Yes, that's 100% going ahead, and looking forward to seeing you all there. Yeah, Wesley, I mentioned on a live stream that Birmingham Council actually went bankrupt last year. Yeah, let that sink in. So any goods and services that Birmingham Council are providing, they are going to be skeleton staffed. I think the first signs you're going to see is if something happened to bin collections. Can you imagine that? That'd be crazy. I don't know how many people live in Birmingham. If someone can check the population of Birmingham and whack it in the chat, that'd be good. You know, can you imagine that amount of people all of a sudden didn't have their bins collected for a week? Do you remember? I think it was the 70s, 80s. I think it was Brighton, and I think it was left for about a month. For people, there, honestly, it was a nightmare. You had like rodents and vermin ripping bins all over the place. There was rats. It was hot. It was stinky. It was really bad. I think it was because there was a strike. I don't know if some of you older guys remember that. Hello, John from Northern Ireland. No, no. I don't know if you heard that. It sounded like a weird sheep outside. That's what happens when you live in mountains. There we go. The 70s bin men strikes were quite, yeah, yeah, I remember. I remember the smells as well. Happens. Yeah, well, I don't know what the population of Birmingham is because someone said so. I don't know, but it's a lot. It's over 1 million people. I know that. So yeah, I really do think it's time to start training now. Okay, I think. Oh, here we are. Thank you for doing that. 2.7 million people. That's who live there. What about people who visiting there or working there? That is a lot of people without water. Should these reservoirs dry up, because we've got nowhere near the amount of rainfall than we should be having. Let me see. Hmm. Wow. I just got to show you this about the lack of rainfall. You ready? The most striking statistic in rainfall or lack of, with just 80 millimeters recorded so far in the UK this spring. So that's all of spring. Okay. Currently ranking as the driest spring in over 100 years. Wow. The previous record for something that was that low was set in 1852. So there you go, people. Right now, it's the driest spring in over 100 years. So why shouldn't you have some water in your house? Like I said, I know. I've been there. I go there a lot. Elan Valley. That's a lot of water that place holds, and it supplies all of Birmingham. So yeah, 2.7 million people. How would that look if 2.7 million people all of a sudden didn't have access to the water that they're used to having? What do you think would happen? Do you think everyone would just stop drinking, stop having a wash, stop washing their clothes, whatever it is? Makes you think, doesn't it? Some of you guys. Mm. Well, Hazel, I didn't know. Birmingham's bin men have been on strike since January over the council's plans to cut wages by up to 8 grand. There you go. Sign of the times. I remember saying this a year ago when Birmingham Council went bankrupt. Services going to be cut, and there we go. January already. 5 months. The bin men have been on strike. So if you're in Birmingham, how's it going? An outbreak of cholera? I'm not joking. Sanitation is crazy. In fact, a friend of mine just come back from Greece, and it reminded me of the time I was out there that some places have got like open sewers. In particular, I've been to Sousse, which is in North Africa. Has anyone been to Sousse? It's unbelievable. When the ancient Greeks, when they'd done the water thing back in the day, to see it still not how it should be is insane in this day and age. Lots of people get ill very, very quick with waterborne illnesses. That's one of the reasons why I trust my Lifesaver jerry can and my bottle and my cube. I've never had a single problem with those because they're made in the UK. If you want to buy some cheap Chinese stuff, fine. Just don't go nuts if you get ill. Just be very, very careful. Oh, Ninja Man. Yeah, it's dry. Yeah, I'm going to be heading out there during the week to have a look myself. Mm-hmm. Mad. Right, so to summarize then, let me just check something. Hold on. Right, that's okay. Yeah, I didn't realise the bloody rainfall was that bad. It's the worst in 100 years. Bloody hell. Many don't pay council tax in Birmingham. Well, how do we really know how many people pay and who don't? I've got no idea. Excuse me. So yes, like I say, I just really think it's a good idea to start doing some sort of training. Okay, if you've got a water filter, unpack it, prime it, and use it, and see if it works. Okay, make sure that you test the kit. That's a really good rule of thumb. It just boils my piss when I call them plastic preppers. Plastic preppers would be posting posts on Instagram showing brand new stuff that they've never used, and they're calling themselves a prepper. Well, you should always make sure that you use what you've got. Okay, buy something, watch reviews, etc. Decide what you want to get it, go out and test it, get used to it, get familiar with it, find pouches or boxes to store it in, etc. Don't be the person to spend a fortune on loads of stuff and never use it, because one day when you really need to use it, you won't have a clue how it works. You could break it, it might not even work. Okay, always make sure that you test your kit. I know Mark does, the Ninja Man. He gets a tent he puts up in his garden just like I do and test it out first. What you don't want to do is to get a tent, go miles away, go up to a mountain, set it all up, a storm comes in and it's missing a pole or the zip's broken and all the wind and rain's blowing in, potentially giving you hypothermia. It's common sense, but people still do it. There's so many thick people out there. They walk amongst us, friends. You know who they are. Avoid those people at all costs. Use your intuition and stay away from the idiots. The idiots will get you killed one day. Gunnar from Norway. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're well, man. Temu. Personally, I've never bought anything on Temu, and I never will. I just think if you want to find the cheapest crap that you can get your hands on and hope it's going to be all right, be my guest. I'm not playing that game. No way. Especially when it comes to preparedness and survival, I'll get the best that I can. Do not scrimp. Oh, well done, Mark. You're out in the tent already. Fair play. There you go. I told you. Mike with the anchor. They're out there, brother. They're out there. So my advice, have a look at your kit and equipment. Check that it's okay. Make time. Don't find time. You have to make the time. Go out and use it. Practice. Train. Have you sharpened your knife? Will it batten logs easy? Can you feather stick with it? When was the last time you lit a fire in the woods or on the beach? Go for it. Practice your skills, because all the time that we're hurtling towards this collapse, you don't want to be rusty. You want to be hitting the ground running. Not joking. Hitting the ground running is what we need to do. We need to make sure we're prepared and we're ready. So don't forget, people, there's links below the video to anything if you want to have a look at it all. Yes, I will be starting a Patreon page soon, probably next week. And yes, I have done a really cool overnight video, and that's going to be up in the next few days. I might put a community post giving you guys a heads up, especially the members. You're going to be seeing it first. So all of you members, thanks so much for supporting the channel. And in fact, a shout out to Owen, who's been a member for 22 months. We have trouble on the way soon. You're not wrong, mate. I'm glad you see it. Many don't. So yeah, thanks for supporting the channel. 22 months, that's insane. Really appreciate your help, guys. I'm not joking. It's crazy. And Rachel, brilliant. Thanks, darling. I really appreciate it. Don't forget, Rachel's got her own YouTube channel, and that link's underneath this one. So if you're into your art and all of that stuff, especially some really cool abstract stuff, she's awesome. So check out her YouTube channel. That's my partner. Hey, darling, and thanks for the support. Really appreciate it. You're a legend. So stay tuned for the overnight video. All right, you're gonna like it and probably gonna learn something too. It's full tactical. All right, it's not some glamping shit. It's real survival, bug out, shit at the fan preparedness. It's a good training video. So you guys take care. Thanks for watching and stay funky.